Hello and welcome to 2018. If September 2017 was the most devastating geophysical month ever, with massive hurricanes, typhoons, rainfall, volcanic activity, major quakes and near-record X-class flares, well then the first week of 2018 should surely be recognised as the record beginning to a new year ever. If not, well, it must come pretty close. It had everything, folks. Record heat, record snowfall, record cold, volcano activity and two massive storms which battered Western Europe. If the first week of 2018 is anything to go on, this year is going to be a white-knuckle ride for many. Storm Eleanor reached cyclone level as hurricane-force winds and torrential rain battered the UK and Ireland. The colossal storm Eleanor made landfall on January the 2nd, smashing into the UK and Ireland with winds reaching 100 miles an hour along with torrential rain, which brought flooding to large parts of the two countries. Eleanor became the fifth storm of the season on Tuesday, following the first massive storm, Dylan, on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. On the 3rd of January, Storm Eleanor went on to impact Western Europe with 200,000 French people without power. While most of the United States is dealing with record cold and ice, residents of Alaska were enjoying unusually warm weather. In some parts of the state, temperatures reached plus 10 degrees Celsius, which is unusual at this time of the year, BNT reported. The record-shattering Arctic cold, which has hampered the New Year celebrations in parts of the US, had now reached the deep south as freeze warnings were put in place for Florida and Texas. The Gulf Coast did not escape the Arctic blasts. Alabama's coastal region reached an incredible low of 16 degrees Fahrenheit, which is minus 9 degrees centigrade overnight, with cruel winds creating dangerous conditions across Georgia and most of northeastern Florida. Earlier in the week, a report by the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy said it had found 3 dead thresher sharks frozen to death on the shore of the Cape Cod Bay in Brewster, south of Boston. Glass windows were said to be cracking in Chicago's new Apple building from the extreme cold temperatures, and low temperatures in the minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 40 degrees Celsius had been reported in northern Minnesota this week. Many cities had their coldest New Year's Eve, when many cancelled celebrations, and the Niagara Falls froze over. It was the coldest New Year in living memory, as 220 million Americans wrapped up to face lows of minus 30 degrees Celsius. The crazy weather also brought a record warmth of parts of Western Europe. While parts of the US were colder than Mars, Holland was enjoying its warmest New Year's Eve in living memory, as the Limburg town of El recorded a temperature of 14 degrees Celsius, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Away from the cold, a magnitude 3.9 earthquake hit near Mount St. Helens early Wednesday, which was then followed by a swarm of aftershocks. The quake hit east of Mount St. Helens, 23 miles south-southeast of Morton, just after 12:30 a.m. on Wednesday, according to the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. The PNSN said there has been as many as 19 aftershocks. One of the largest was a magnitude 2.7. Seismologists said they are confident the earthquake was a tectonic event and not related to magma activity with the volcano itself, but the location and strength of the quake were atypical. On Thursday, Bombogenesis Grayson arrived aiming to bomb the mid-Atlantic states and the Northeast as the classic nor'easter brought blizzards and strong winds to an already battle-weary US. As the bombogenesis took aim at the US northeast, it added to the crippling cold, bringing strong winds and blizzards and delivering the most powerful winter storm of the season for the mid-Atlantic states and the northeast. Kenya, on the other hand, is to experience one of the world's worst heat waves, with temperatures expected to hit more than 40 degrees Celsius, that's above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, for the whole of this month. Meanwhile, massive flooding was wreaking havoc along New England's coast. The blizzard-stirred coastal flooding in Boston was to be the worst in history, as reports of major flooding were pouring in from coastal Massachusetts communities on Thursday afternoon. More thresher sharks were found dead and frozen after becoming stranded along several beaches off the coast of Cape Cod. Andrew Cuomo declared a state of emergency for New York City on Thursday as heavy snow and powerful winds battered the 5 boroughs. The bomb cyclone got more intense through the afternoon. Mayor Bill de Blasio declared a winter weather emergency for the city, ordering workers to tow any cars that were blocking snowplows from clearing city streets. The situation did deteriorate through the day and the afternoon and evening rush hour. Blizzard-like conditions roiled public transport and grounded hundreds of flights out of the city on Thursday. The snowstorm dropped up to 10 inches on New York City and brought wind gusts as strong as 50 miles an hour. It's exciting, it's an old friend, and it's the highest active volcano in Eurasia. The first volcano activity report of 2018. The Klyuchevskoy volcano in the Kamchatka region has been spewing ash for 3 days in a row. The Kamchatka Volcanic Eruption Response Team at the Institute of Volcanology and Seismology of the Far Eastern Department of the Russian Academy of Sciences told TASS on Friday. The volcano emitted ash as high as 5.5 kilometers above sea level. The volcano itself is 4.75 kilometers high, the response team specified. The ash spread 92 kilometers in a northwestern direction from the volcano. Meanwhile, in the southern hemisphere, Sydney recorded almost the hottest day ever in its history, as the mercury reached 47.3 degrees centigrade, almost 120 degrees Fahrenheit on Sunday. The temperature fell just short of the all-time highest recorded in 1939, when the Silver Line stopped at 47.8 degrees Celsius. Spare a thought for the England cricketers who had to bowl in the hottest day ever recorded in an Ashes test. That's Australia versus England. The previous hottest Ashes test day appears to be 43.1 degrees Celsius during the Adelaide test between England and Australia back in 1908. But on the pitch side yesterday, temperatures reached an incredible 57.6 degrees Celsius. That is an astonishing 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Earlier in the week, a heat wave had gripped parts of Melbourne, with temperatures so strong roads and highways begun to melt, with bushfires raging out of control, which have destroyed buildings and is threatening lives. According to Reuters, the heat was so strong that it melted the bitumen on a 10-kilometer, 6-mile stretch of freeway. A spell of cold weather with temperatures around minus 31.5 degrees centigrade has claimed at least 11 lives in southern Nepal's districts of Terai region bordering India in the past 2 days, media reports said on Saturday. Hundreds of locals have been taken to hospital suffering from hypothermia. China was hit by a second wave of snow after blizzards earlier in the week, leaving 13 dead and 2.5 million without power. Heavy snow has killed 13 people in East China's Anhui province since January the 3rd, the provincial government announced on Friday. The worst snowstorms since 2008 have so far affected millions of people in the province. Day 0, April the 29th, 2018, is the day Cape Town, population 3.75 million, becomes the first major city in the world to run out of drinking water. At the current rate of consumptions, officials warn April 29th, 2018 will become Day 0, the day the city's taps will be turned off, becoming the first major city in the world to run out of water. On January the 1st, 2018, residents of South Africa's bustling city of Cape Town, home of nearly 4 million people, celebrated the start of a new year with stringent new water regulations. The Level 6 restrictions came into effect to combat an unprecedented drought which threatens to make Cape Town the first major city devoid of water.